Hey everyone, this is Ben from T3, bringing you Game 2 of match number 6 of the San Rafael Regionals. So, last match was at Exile, and his corpse side, my opponent's corpse side, is Cerebral Imaging. So, running two non-standard decks at a major tournament, which is pretty awesome. Always great to see, especially the steep in. And he, of course, Cerebral Imaging is on the left, and myself playing Noise is on the right. So here we go. And it looks like in his hand I see an NAPD and a hedge fund, and I don't see what else there. And we're actually still talking about the last game a little bit, but time to get down to business pretty soon. And you see this habit of players shuffling their hands, so he didn't like that and is throwing it back, but you see this habit of both players shuffling their hands. I think it's just because of the corp game, and it's really frustrating to watch sometimes because it can be really distracting, but corp players do it so you don't know, so the runner can't glean information off of what they drew. So let's say, like in the last game, you saw I played a Beal face down, and then the first card I drew was an Astroscript. So if I had shuffled my hand a little bit and then install Advance, and Fast Advance another Astroscript out, that face down card could have been a Sansan that I installed last turn, just trying to get him, or a Jackson or something to try and get him to force the run. But if I had just drawn it and scored it out, you might not know that because you figure Astroscripts always have priority. It's just kind of one of those weird things that's unique to Netrunner. So he has to keep this one, and I think I actually see a Scorch. Is that a Scorch? I don't know, I can't tell. But there's a blue level, and it looks like 3 ice in his hand as well. So opening with that blue level, getting some money, getting more cards, which is exactly what you want with Cerebral Imaging, and icing up HQ, which you will see in Cerebral Imaging, well, you see against Anarchs now, because people think Account Siphon goes everywhere. I am not one of those players. I actually never play Account Siphon, not because I think it's too good, just because I think it's boring. So other people don't think that way and throw Account Siphon in a lot of stuff. So it's often expected in Anarch to Account Siphon. But you'll see that Liberated play. Oh, here you go. This is like major blasphemy, playing both Liberated Account and Express Delivery in one turn. Neither of those are favored too well in the meta, but I think they're both very undervalued. Express Delivery letting me look at the top 4 and picking whichever one I need at, the most at that point is great. Even if it's just turn 1 like this, there's still one of those cards that is better than the other ones at that point. And I'd just rather have that and only pay a credit for it. So if that had been quality time, I couldn't have done it there because I don't have the money. And now I also have Liberated, so I have 4 more sure gambles stockpiled for whenever I want, for the low cost of 1 more credit than the sure gamble cost to begin with. Well worth it. Even being a resource that is potentially trashed, it's worth the risk for what it provides. And starting that pressure, getting him to res. You saw me do it earlier against Cerebral Imaging, where I just run their stuff to try and get him to lose some money and pay down a little bit. In this case, it's working a little bit better for my opponent since he has those 2 Eli's, which are really cheap, really good. Said it before, Eli's one of the better pieces of ice in the game. And always don't like seeing it across from me, but it's so common now you have to expect it. So he's played a lot of economy at this point and little ice. So there isn't anything that's telling me what he's playing here. And my first click to run HQ is kind of weird, but it serves a purpose of, like, I can, at click 1, I could still click through that Eli. So if he reses that ice, he either wants to be sure that he keeps me out, or he like might not have agendas in his hand. Having the option to get through the Eli still would force him to res that ice if he's trying to protect something. So he reses the Victor and pays a lot, so now he only has 3 credits again. And just like before, I want to keep putting pressure on Cerebral Imaging, keep their credit count low. If they can't get off restructures, if they can't get their economy and have to spend turns clicking for credits like he just had to, it slows them down. So he had to res the Eli and gain 3 credits next turn and still had to discard down because he had too many cards. And if I just said, okay, that's an Eli, I can't get through it, and not run, he wouldn't have had to do that and probably had more card draw and card acceleration, and credit acceleration in his hand that he could have just benefited off of there. So I put that knight over to the Victor, and I almost run on click 3, but that's not good because I have no way of getting through the Eli if I do, which would be pretty bad. So I'll play that express delivery again and keep going through my deck, looking for answers. Always good to have. And HQ in particular here, so even though I have to pay a lot more to get through HQ, I have to pay 4 credits to get through the Victor, 2 clicks to get through the Eli at this point, I'd rather do that than hit R&D. Because it gives me an idea. I guess R&D I can see what they have in their deck too, but with HQ, if I do it multiple times, I see different cards every time. Almost guaranteed, especially when the game gets later and Cerebral Imaging will have like 13 cards in their hand, which is more common than I would like to think. The odds of me seeing an agenda out of 13 cards in their hand is way higher than me seeing agenda by happenstance on top of their deck. Plus, knowing what's in their hand is giving me some idea of what they're hanging on to, what they might be trying to combo out with. Which, again, I guess technically would be the same concept looking at R&D, where you see what they're going to draw next. But I like to, against Cerebral Imaging, I prefer to see what's in their hand as opposed to what they're about to get. It just seems to, I feel it gives me more information. So he's drawing up here, and I haven't made a whole lot of runs. I don't think I've actually had a successful run yet in this game, but I'm still not doing too badly. I have a full hand, a little bit of money on the table, plus a bunch more, 8 more credits off Liberated, so 2 more sure gambles, or sure funds, as I've been saying, because I kind of get those mixed up, sure gamble and hedge fund on either side, and sure funds works for either, so start going with that. And Imp. Just like the last CI, I always love seeing Imp. And yeah, going through and taking a look at HQ. So paying a bunch of money and a bunch of clicks to get through and see what he has. And with the NAPD, see, this is a cool thing with Imp, is unlike, well, normally if you see it, so pretend that wasn't an NAPD. If that was an agenda, I would have had to score it. It is not an option. But with NAPD and Fetal AI, they have an additional cost, which means I don't have to do it. But with the Imp actually would supersede any other agenda. So if I have an Imp in play and I see an agenda, I can decide to kill it and send it to archives instead of actually stealing it, which is kind of a cool interaction. But by imping the NAPD, in this case, I forced him to waste an archive of memories. And this is really big here. I run on R&D, and I see a Scorched Earth, which is a big, big indicator. If he plays Scorch, he probably plays C-Source to tag me on successful runs, and I immediately after seeing it credit up, or try and get a little bit of credits, and I guarantee I'm going to take the rest of Liberated as soon as my turn starts, because I can't, that's how he's going to win. I'm pretty sure he's just trying to scorch, because that's a lot of influence to see in Cerebral Imaging. And if you play one scorch, most likely you play 3. So even though I haven't seen any other influence at this point, I'm assuming that's it. And by him reclamation ordering that Scorched Earth back, he has dictated what I'm going to do for the remainder of the game, because I am not going to run anymore unless I have just as much money as he does, or can easily get just as much money as he has, for fear of C-Source Scorched Earth. And with that hand of Cerebral Imaging, it's really, really easy for him to have those combo pieces. And the fact that he reclamation ordered the Scorched to begin with is an indicator that he really wants it in hand. So I don't know if he has another one, but either way, I don't play Plascrates in this. I do not feel safe running unless I have a bunch of money. And he has all of the restructures, he has all of the blue levels, and most likely I'm not going to be able to outmoney him, just because Cerebral Imaging plays almost entirely money, with usually about 15 to 18 ice and everything else being just pure card drawn money. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do here, because I know I can't outmoney him, and I don't have any safe avenue, and I can't, you know, even if I end my turn with 4 or 5 cards, if I make a successful run and he can just C-Source, Scorch, and I lose. Really, it's too easy to do when you don't play Plascrates, so you have to play super, super smart and play around it. Which isn't to say that it's impossible, but it requires a very different level of thinking than before, when I was trying to just score out agenda points and get as many accesses as possible to steal his cards. So before, where my strategy might have been just keep hitting HQ or keep trying to hit R&D until I see something, now I have to take a step back and figure out how I can do that without leaving enough of a credit difference for him to just tag me and blow me away. And I'm not doing too bad on that strategy right now. He only has 4 more credits than I do, with 3 restructures in archives. But I know he plays Reclamation Order, so those restructures, and you can see it sitting on top of archives, so those restructures are just 2 clicks and a credit away. And he has more than enough money to get them off. So again, just kind of try and think of another way to do it. And another great thing to do against a deck like this is spend my entire turn playing Liberated, clicking it 3 times. And despite thinking I can't outmoney him, I have more money than him at this point in the game. But that's only possible because I'm making an active, you know, a conscious effort to do that. This is not normally how I would play this deck at all. But as you see cards, you have to be flexible. If I wasn't flexible after seeing that Scorched Earth and after he pulled it back to his hand, I'd probably be dead by now. You know, at the end of that turn that it got in, that I saw the Scorched, I think I had 4 credits, which is not enough to save me. In putting that other imp in play. Oh, and so I did remember to trash the other imp, and you do that so I could potentially deja vu the imp back into my hand. And, you know, it does free up memory, but the more important thing at this point is to keep the memory open and keep that option open to deja vu. And I still don't have an idea of how I'm going to go about winning this game, but maybe that express delivery will give me an idea. And that was a quick choice. A really quick choice with express delivery, and it's, again, one of the reasons why I think that card is really, really undervalued, because a lot of the time you'll see that where there's one card that just stands out way above the rest. And by just looking at them, picking one, going back, and then the other 3 get shuffled back in, which you don't see a lot of the time on runner cards. Usually it'll look and then put back, but in this case it's shuffle those 3 cards that you don't want anymore, shuffle them right back into your deck. And playing that Parasite and forcing the mill. And you see how big his hand is. His hand actually kind of looks bigger than his deck right now, and he Reclamations order those 3. He orders those 3 restructures back to his hand to just money up. Because you can't have Anarchs with more money than Cerebral. That's just not allowed. Can't blow my house away when I have more money than he does. So at this point, and he's discarding, so he has more cards in his hand than money. But I think I'm starting to formulate my plan. And my best choice of winning, since he doesn't have any points, is to make him get rid of his deck. Mill him out. I know, that's not a normal option for any deck, even with noise and that ability. But I can't make runs, I have no points. If I make a run, it's going to cost me a bunch of money, and he has a lot of restructures. So it's going to be really easy for him to destroy me if I start making runs all willy-nilly and trying to force something happening. And he can't C-source me if I don't make a run. That's another useful tool to know, or useful thing to know. So here I go way down on credits, but since I didn't make a run, it's not going to hurt me. He can't C-source, and he just plays those 3 restructures and gains all sorts of money. But since I didn't make that run, he can't make me die. And I'm just gonna play it safe and gain all sorts of credits off that liberated, but we'll see. I also need to keep my draw and viruses going at this point, because if I don't have those viruses, I can't mill them. And Cerebral Imaging, offhand I don't know the influence, but I know there's also combos that you can get with CI to just win in one turn, or score a massive amount of points in one turn. And if you have even 2 shipment from Sands, and you can score a efficiency committee. I know he plays the Reclamation order, so then he starts to be able to open up combos like Reclamation order the shipment from Sands, and using a bunch of efficiency committee counters to get more clicks, and then use shipment from Sands to just put advancement tokens on cards, which does work that way. So it's there's a lot of concerns that I have here, and milling is not a good plan, but it's the best plan I have. And playing the clone ship, putting an imp back in play to clear out some of my MU to get more viruses back out. Or to get more viruses back into archives so I could deja vu those viruses back into my hand and play them again. So you see a lot of really, really odd play, and he's noticed. I think he's known for a turn or so what my plan's going to be. And yeah, here I just flat out ask how many cards he has in his deck. And here's that deja vu play to get the viruses. And this was a good idea on his part, to put a card down and advance it, and I'm sure that's an agenda, but if I had made that run and stolen the agenda, it would have given me 2 points, but I don't have enough money to defend against the C-Source Scorch afterwards. So I get 2 points, but I die as soon as his turn starts, because it was a good bait, but I know enough, and I have it, and that's enough of my game plan at this point where I can't take it. And he scores the efficiency committee, which again really pressures my timer a little bit, because all of those counters, although they can't be used directly to let him put advancement tokens on things, they can be used in conjunction with the shipment from Sansan to put advancement counters on things, which isn't the same as advancing a card.
I'm gonna play draw.
And I really need to make something happen. At this point, it's a race. It's a race to see who can go off first. I either need to get rid of his deck, or he needs to get all of the cards that he needs to counter, or that he needs to go off in one turn. And stringing those deja vus and just trashing the programs as they come out so I can get my cheap viruses back in play, or back into my hand to play them again. It's a lot of heads-up play here. And he's doing some thinking because he's trying to see if he has the cards in his hand available to allow him to win, because he has 2 cards left in his deck. And it's very possible that he has those cards that would let him win this turn. Cerebral Imaging does have that ability to just combo out and score a whole bunch of points in one turn. Through biotic labors, efficiency committees, shipment from Sansan, and things like that. So I think he said he's going to go out with a bang. So I just kind of sit back and see what he can do, because it doesn't sound like he can win here. But you never know. You know, there's a lot of math and things like this, so he could have just counted wrong. And it would have been really easy for him to count wrong with all these extra clicks and whatnot that he gets. So he plays 2 biotics, so he has 2 extra clicks now. And he scores that other efficiency committee that he has in play. So he 2 turns ago, I think, he played 2 efficiency committees and advanced the one, just face down, trying to get me to run, trying to get me to make that mistake so he can follow up and blow me away. And he's using those efficiency committee counters to get the extra clicks and shipment from Sansan, using that double. And so he couldn't win out that turn, and you just see me play out the agendas. So as soon as his turn begins, he loses. So really exciting game, really good game. Made me feel good. That's the only time I've ever won off a mill. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will catch you with some of the top 16 videos.